This week's power rankings are coming at you like a mystery spinner drunk on power. We have assembled a list of teams in terms of vibes, which is the only way we know how. We've looked at each team's bowling this week, which isn't the actual ratings. We've just looked at each team's bowling because bowling still exists and it has not yet been banned.
You want to swing wildly at the internet like you've got the new pill in your hand, but you keep getting dead battered. Find the movement you want with NordVPN. They are our protection against terrifying cyber threats and wide-battered geo-blocks. NordVPN will help you get through any rights restrictions so you can watch all the cricket you want. We aren't always happy the wickets were on. Sometimes we need a change. NordVPN can switch your virtual location so your IP address is ready to cash in. So if you need to get around the internet's rules, or I suppose in our case laws, select NordVPN. They can help you watch a game on a cheaper stream in another country. Give NordVPN the ball and let them penetrate all your vast internet issues. Because if you need a VPN, go Nord. Use nordvpn.com/Kimber to get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan plus 4 additional months for free. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. You can also receive a 20GB daily data voucher. The link is in the show notes. Protect your computer like a big hitter is coming for you at nordvpn.com/KIMBER right now.
RCB won at Rajasthan, lost versus Delhi, and won at Mumbai. The next 3 games are versus Punjab, home and away, and then versus Rajasthan. RCB just defeated Rajasthan with 15 balls to spare. They now have a 4-0 record on the road and 0-2 at home. Their quicks have done pretty well in this competition. They have the second best economy rate, almost a full run and over better than Mumbai in 3rd place, and the 4th best strike rate of all teams in the competition. The experience of Bhuvi Kumar and Josh Hazlewood has worked, while Yash Chahal has been very good so far this season. And those were the parts of the games we kind of hoped would hold up, but their spin has gone pretty much where we thought it would be. They're 6th and 8th when it comes to economy and strike rate, respectively. Surya Sharma has bowled a couple of economical spells, but he's not really taken any wickets. Krunal has taken most of his wickets versus KKR at Mumbai, but it's gone at more than 9.5 runs and over, which is not good for your defensive specialist. Bengaluru have a few rest days before a packed travel schedule, but they're also going home and away against Punjab. So if they can split those two and beat Rajasthan, they're in a really good position when it comes to playoffs. Delhi lost versus Mumbai, but won at RCB. And let's be honest, they should have beaten Mumbai as well. In fact, they should still be undefeated, even if they don't feel completely like an undefeated type of team. Mitchell Starc has picked up 9 wickets, but is going at 10.3 runs and over. Mukesh Kumar and Mohit Sharma have 6 wickets between them, but they're being a lot more economical than the overseas star. When it comes to spin, though, there is no issue here at all. Kuldeep Yadav is on the road to having an all-time great season. 10 wickets at 5.6. Akshar Patel actually hasn't done much this year, but is a very capable backup. Their next 3 games are versus Rajasthan, at Gujarat, and at LSG. As good as they've been in this season, I think it's possible that they go 1-2 in those games. I don't think that's a big cause of concern, but they might look back at the Mumbai game as a real lost opportunity if that does happen. However, 2 wins and a loss, and you're 6-2. Gujarat lost at LSG and won versus Rajasthan. They really should have won both of those games. I'm not really sure what happened against Lucknow. Mohammad Siraj and Prashid Krishna have had an outstanding start to the season. The former has done his best work with the new ball, while the latter has been impactful sort of at the end of the power play and then into the middle overs. We've obviously done an entire video on Rashid Khan, so we don't need to go into that too much, but Sai Kishore has been really good, picking up 10 wickets at an economy of 8.47. At the moment, Gujarat have a 2-1 record both home and away, and if you look at their next 3 games, it's versus Delhi, at KKR, and at Rajasthan. Being that they're playing Delhi away, and then 2 teams who haven't been quite as good as them away, I think you can see how they might go 2-1 again in this stretch, which will put them in a very good position. But they are hosting Delhi in Ahmedabad for an afternoon start on the 19th, and then traveling to Kolkata for the night game on the 21st. That kind of screams schedule loss. So I think if I was planning on that team, I'd be thinking we have to beat Delhi, see how we go against Kolkata, and then hopefully clean up against Rajasthan as well. LSG lost versus CSK, 1 versus Gujarat, and 1 versus KKR. They had 2 wins on the trot, and for a second, it looked like they could squeeze CSK for another, but that did not happen. Shardul Thakur has been their best seamer. He has carried their quicks. Let that sink in. A great story for the young Essex seamer. But if you're relying on him at the death, you're going to lose a lot. Avesh Khan hasn't had a good year. Akashdeep is still not a plus bowler. They tried Prince Yadav, and now they're hoping that Mayank Yadav will be able to save them. Their spin is also struggling, and it shouldn't be, because Digvesh Rathi has been great. He's been fantastic. He's been one of the finds of the tournament, but unfortunately, Ravi Bishnoi has been the opposite of that, and he has dragged them down a little bit. If he finds form, things change, and he did pull a little bit better in the last game. But at the moment, their batting just has to keep overperforming to get them into the playoffs. Their schedule is not horrendous. They're at Rajasthan versus Delhi and at Mumbai. So against the two weaker teams, they're playing on the road, and against the good team, they're at home. There's something to work with here, but will they have had a dent in their mojo from losing to CSK? Punjab lost at Sunrisers, but they won versus CSK. And in both of their games, their bowling wasn't ideal, and we're about to talk about their bowling. Their quicks have the second worst economy rates and the worst strike rate of all teams in the league. They are probably the worst seam bowling team. Arshdeep Singh and Lockie Ferguson have been all right, but unfortunately, the latter is now gone for the entire tournament, and that changes everything. But Marco Janssen has not been good at all. Yash Thakur and Marcus Stoinis have also been expensive without taking any wickets. Vaishak Vijay Kumar hasn't played a single game after a good outing versus Gujarat in the first one of the season. I don't have a lot of high hopes for them if Ferguson can't get back on the field. The other issue is that their spin bowling hasn't been much better. Yuzi Chahal has been smashed everywhere. Glenn Maxwell has been fine, considering he's a part-timer, and has bowled well over the last couple of years, but you don't want him to be your main bowler. Their next three games are versus KKR, then home and away versus RCB. Weirdly enough, they play RCB on the 18th and then the 20th, but the 20th game is an afternoon, and usually that would be a throwaway game. But in this case, both teams are going to be traveling. But these are three pretty big games for them. How good a side they are, we will probably know at the end of these three games. If they go 2-1, then they're in a really good chance for the rest of the season. If they go 1-2 and look a bit shaky and their bowling doesn't step up, then perhaps I overrated them a little bit to begin with. Mumbai won versus Delhi and lost versus RCB. And to be honest, at one stage it looked like they were going to lose both of those games, right? They stole the one against Delhi, but good on them for finding some form. Mumbai's quicks have actually been better than league average in both economy and strike rate. But Hardik Pandya has been their best pacer. Bolt has been okay, and Deepak Chahar has gone for a few runs. I think the overlap of those two guys doesn't seem to work as well as they would have wanted. Ashwani Kumar played a key role in their win versus KKR, and Jasper Bumrah has only played the 2 games back. The spinner who's bowled the most of them is Mitchell Santner, who has an economy of just above 9.5. Left-arm wrist spinner Ignesh Patur has been among the wickets as well. But their spinners really haven't held up, and that's probably why they went to Khan Sharma last game, who played well. Their next 3 games are home and away versus the Sunrisers, with a CSK game in the middle. If they're about to go on a run, it starts here. This is a very easy part of the season for them. But the thing is, they do have to go 3-0, which seems a stretch with how they've been playing. KKR won at CSK and lost versus Lucknow. The game against Chennai, they won easily. The other game ended up being a bit of a coin flip, but they were certainly well in control of that game at times. Vaibhav Arora and Harshit Rana have had decent seasons so far, picking up 7 wickets each at less than 9 runs and over. However, Spencer Johnson, it just hasn't worked for him in the IPL. Andre Russell has figures of 5 for 88 in 6.3 overs. I don't actually know what to make of those numbers at all, but I need you to know that that's what he's done. The spinners, of course, have been absolutely magnificent. They've been the joint 3rd best in terms of strike rate, despite the fact that Sunil Narayan hasn't been great at the moment. But Varun Chakravarti might be the best T20 spinner in the world at the moment. And Moeen Ali, when he's been used, has also chipped in a little bit. They've got home and away games versus Punjab on the 15th and then the 26th, with a home game versus Gujarat in the middle. If Punjab is roughly at the level I think they are, this is quite a tough little schedule. But there is still 2 home games in this, so they would be hoping for a 2-1. They also have quite a bit of rest in there as well. The Sunrisers won versus Punjab, and they did it by playing the way that they kind of used to play. But we're not here to talk about their batting, because if you're a Sunrisers fan, there really isn't much nice to talk about their bowling. So let's do it anyway. You could actually make a case, if you wanted to, that their pacers and their spinners have been the worst in the competition. Compare that with Punjab, who's also up there. They've had a couple of bowlers chip in. Harshal Patel has been the pick of the pacers for Sunrisers. His economy rate is 9.64. And he has taken a wicket every 12.7 deliveries. So he's been okay. Pat Cummins and Mohammad Shami have just gone for lots of runs. Their leggy, Zishan Ansari, is trying to lead the spin attack in his debut season, which is a lot of pressure on someone still trying to work out what he's actually doing. They are obviously 2-4 at the moment, but if you have a look at their schedule, it's quite interesting. They're home and away against Mumbai, and then they're travelling to CSK. Basically, this is the best run they're going to have all season when it comes to opponents. And they do kind of have to go 3-0. The biggest problem might be Mumbai's found some form, but also when they play CSK, it's actually only 2 days after that Mumbai game. It's a little bit trickier than what they want, but they don't have a choice. They have to pretty much go 3-0.
Rajasthan came into this week with a 2-2 record, and they've now lost both their games. They weren't even close to winning versus RCB, and the only time it looked like the chase was on against GT was when Sanju Samson and Riyan Parag were batting together. After a horrendous start to the season, Jofra Archer has found form. He had figures of 568 in 11 overs versus CSK, PBKS, and GT. Sandeep Sharma has been okayish, while Tushar Deshpande and Fazal Haq Faruqi have been very expensive. Should they consider giving Sandeep more overs in the power play and bringing in Akash Madwal? Wanindu Hasaranga took 4 wickets versus CSK, but wasn't that great in the other 3 outings. Mahesh Theekshana has kept things quiet in a couple of games, but he has also conceded over 50 runs in 4 overs twice. They will be up against 3 teams that have had better starts to the season and seem to have fewer flaws in their respective lineups. It's a pretty challenging run to start a comeback, especially compared to SRH and MI, 2 other teams that have 2-4 record at the moment.
CSK won versus LSG, they lost versus KKR, and also against Punjab. But they have won a game! Ring the bells! They almost did cough it up though, and then MSD came in to save the game. Look, they don't bowl well in the power play, but their overall seam bowling is okay. Most of that is Khalil Ahmed, of course. He's having quite the year. Cam Bodge has been okay in patches, and Patharana is a wild card. He's taking wickets, but he's clearly not himself, and he's certainly getting hit for 6s. This is a spin team though, and that is holding up. Well, certainly 2/3 of it. Jadeja hasn't taken many wickets, but he's been hard to get away. And Noah has been freaking fantastic and an absolute beast. But they dropped Ashwin. And in honesty, the combined finger spin threat really hasn't worked for them. Partly because of their own pitches. However, their problems are not spin bowling. Their season is probably dead, but their next 3 games are at Mumbai versus Sunrisers and versus Punjab. So the next 2 games, they're playing teams lower down the order. You win 2 of those, and then it's 3 on the drop. And then by the time you host Punjab, maybe you believe again? It seems unlikely, but so does a 463-year-old MS Dhoni still anchoring chases. So let's look at our entire list, shall we? We stuck with the same top 2 in the same order. I don't see any change needed. But Gujarat have come up a position. And LSG rise from 6 to 4. And I think I said they may never go this high earlier this year, but I had to drop Punjab down, because they were 4 on my ratings. But now I have to factor in no Lockie Ferguson for the season. They also have quite a tough schedule coming up. Mumbai and KKR are tough to split for me, if we're being honest. But I put Mumbai higher because they have the better upcoming games. In fact, with Lockie out, I'm not sure there is much between LSG at 4 and KKR at 7. The Sunrisers had a huge jump up on 1 game. But they did look like themselves. And by that I mean they weren't blocking like idiots. The Royals and CSK have both slipped down a spot. This is your power list. Take it to the bank. Tell your mum about us. It took God and the demon to build international cricket, but don't tell Johnny Bairstow. 1882, Australia had played 1 test in England against the god W.G. Grace, and they sucked. So they were playing him again, and it was a tough wicket. But England was in front, so Australia was desperate for a 3rd innings lead. At number 8 was young all-rounder Sammy Jones. After a routine single, he walks down to do some gardening on the pitch. Grace whips off the bails and appeals. The ball wasn't dead, Jones was run out. The Australians were furious. In fact, some of the English players were also furious. But what Grace said went, and the umpires had already given it. Next in was Fred Spofford. He was known as the demon fast bowler. He was furious, and he let England know exactly what was coming next, which was maiden. There's 12 maidens. I can't count them all. England only needed 85 to win. W.G. Grace made 32. England only 77. That was the test where the Ashes began. Buy my book, Overthrowing Cricket's Empire, on Amazon today.